Hello and welcome. I am NIHOTOUR. Today on NC Exclusive, we have a guest who is working to change how Nigeria welcomes the world. He's a well-known name in marketing, communications, and business. An entrepreneur, a brand strategist, and now the Director General and Chief Executive Officer of the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism, NIHOTOUR. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed Abisoye Fagade to lead reforms and help set new standards for Nigeria's hospitality and tourism industry. From hotels and restaurants to tour guides and travel services, his job is to make sure the experience is better for Nigerians and for the visitors. Dr. Fagade, you're welcome to NC Exclusive.
Nice to see you, NIHOTOUR, in flesh and blood.
Indeed. So we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll delve into this whole conversation. Do stay with us.
Send us iReport of happenings, authentic and verifiable updates around you. We want to see Africa through your eyes. Be an exclusive iReporter with News Central. Reach News Central's iReport desk on WhatsApp +234 705 500 1212 to report breaking news. You can also send via email to ireport@newscentral.africa. News Central, Africa first.
Welcome back. Nigeria has the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism, and there are many who wonder what's it all about. So let me start with Dr. Fagade. NIHOTOUR, that's the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism. What does it exactly mean?
Well, just like every Nigerian that wondered what it was, that was how I wondered when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu drafted me there. I'll say drafted. National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism was established about 39 years ago as a training institute to cater for that sector, train youth and train professionals in that field. In that 39 years, there was no act that was established for the institute. But just before President Muhammadu Buhari left office, he signed into law an act that established NIHOTOUR. So for the first time in 38 years, NIHOTOUR has an act. And the act is very simple. The act has mandated NIHOTOUR to identify, register, train, and certify all practitioners, personnel, and professionals in hospitality, tourism, and travel in Nigeria.
So, in simple terms, what does that mean? That I want to start a restaurant now, I need to go to NIHOTOUR to get a certification or clearance before I can set up my small roadside restaurant, for instance?
Yeah, before we get there, that is just by the way. What it means is that before anything can be scaled up, there has to be a structure.
Okay.
And before you can do a structure, there has to be some sort of accountability. You need to know, take a stock of who we are, what we do. And for any profession to be recognized, there has to be like a
set of rules or guiding rules.
Aside from the rules, there has to be a career path. What has been in operation in the last 39 years is all commerce affair. And which is why even in COVID, hospitality, tourism didn't get nothing because nobody knew what everybody brings to the table. The only thing they got was, okay, you can move anytime you want to move.
Yeah.
That's when they knew that this industry is very critical. It's very important. But as at that time, we can't tell what the figures were. How many people are working in that industry? What is the figure? What is the turnover of that industry? What is the profitability of that industry? How do you attract investors? Even at that point in time, what are the things that are needed by that industry? So what we are doing right now is, first thing first, the act that was established says in 2 years, NIHOTOUR should have a register of people in that industry. Identify who are those people in that industry. From people that are in catering, event management, tour guide, and all of that. And from that, we can now say there are different categories. This is how to scale up. So we are not asking the roadside to come get a license, but it's also for the security of this country. You need to know who and who is working where. And for protection of the workers, you need to know who and who is working there. Let me give you an example. When we have all these multinational coming in, and some company buys over the other ones, and they say, I'm bringing in new staff. Who's protecting the old staff?
Yeah.
Like insurance, for example, you can't just come in and be an insurance broker.
So NIHOTOUR is more or less like a regulator for the hospitality industry.
It's a regulator for personnel and professionals in hospitality and tourism, just like the law school and the MBA combined together.
So the NIHOTOUR does not regulate the hotels, the facilities themselves?
We don't regulate the facilities.
Just the personnel. Okay.
And that means better standard of in terms of service
for both the guests and the workers.
And the workers.
Because
and investors. Because investors are not scared of regulators. They want confidence. That's when they can bring their money. When they know they are protected, investors will come to Nigeria to invest.
I was going to ask you, because Nigeria has one of the largest numbers of hotels. Some of them...
You think so?
Well...
I don't think so. We don't have enough.
Okay. I'm saying that... I was going somewhere. Largest number of hotels in the sense that some of them are below 1 star. I mean, the ones that are, they're quite a number, but below 1 star. And you want to be able to give them some kind of standardization, so to speak. But to say that no one could actually say the number of practitioners in that field is alarming. So tell me, in your about 1 year plus that you've been there, what's the one thing you've noticed about the industry?
Well, the industry...
Maybe not one thing.
A lot of things, you know. The industry is just like the mining industry that's been abandoned for a long time. It's been cannibalized. And a lot of other associations are doing what the government is supposed to be doing. So in this case, most of the pushback is from people that are already benefiting from that industry. As we speak today, how many international brands do we have in Nigeria compared to Ghana, compared to South Africa? You talking just now, you said we have a lot of hotels. How many international brands do we have in Nigeria? We have just one, maybe one or two, one Marriott, about 1 or 2 Sheraton, 4 Point. How many? They are all under Marriott, 1 Hilton all over Nigeria, and you know our number. So we don't have enough hotels that can even hold any big mice in this country, not conferences. Those are benefits that can come to this country when you have big brands investing in Nigeria. And why are they not coming? Because they believe that the quality of the human capital here is a bit worrisome. That's why somebody would come in here, build a 3-star hotel, and bring a foreigner to come be the MD. Part of the thing I did when I started was, in our regulation, it says that you cannot appoint an MD of your hotel without NIHOTOUR knowing. It happens in banking, it happens in insurance. Why not in hospitality? We are not going to, people are saying, will you be asking a roadside hotel to bring their MD? I said, no, because there are 5 or 6 categories. We have a circlet A, and we did all those circlets based on 4 parameters. 1, the size of your investment, the number of staff that you have, your location, and also your turnover. So we categorize them that way. So if you are in circlet A, which means that you're a big brand hotel, we won't say you're a 5-star or 4-star. As far as we're concerned, you have invested a certain amount of money, maybe let's say, for example, 10 billion, 5 billion, and your staff is over 50 or 100, and your turnover is more than, let's say, 5, 7, 8 billion in a year, and your location is premium. That means you are a premium brand in Nigeria. We're saying, the first thing I said was, let's even unveil the alter egos of these companies. Who are the guys behind these companies? Why will EFCC go to hotels for anti-laundering, money laundering, whatever? Because they use hotels for money laundering. Most of the activities that are done in the dark are done from hotels. The only way to curb security in this country is to know who and who works there, so that information can be monitored and managed.
So let me ask this question. Nigeria has a little over 3,000 registered hotels, so to speak, and Egypt, that's a much smaller country than Nigeria, has over 17,000. Is NIHOTOUR looking at or working or with other agencies that may be relevant to make a change in terms of, and if you ask, some will say that the personnel that's working in these 3,000 registered hotels, is much more, or 14,000 registered hotels is much more than the personnel working in the 17,000 hotels in Egypt. So how you balance it?
It's not for us to register hotels. I don't want to.
Granted, I'm talking about the number of personnel.
But what we are concerned about are the personnel that are working in that hotel. From knowing the personnel, we can know the number of hotels. If they are not registered, how do we know the numbers? Nigerians, we do not like engaging the government. We don't look at the benefit of engaging government. We want to do everything under the radar. As we speak today, we can't even account for the number of Airbnb we have in this country. And people that are running the Airbnb, they are personnel in that industry. And the kind of things that happen in the Airbnb industry, it's crazy. So first thing first, we need to take a backseat and say, okay, guys, we need to do this. That's the stage where we've been like that for 1 year. We've been trying to engage, say we have to do this, push back. And I know there will always be pushback. And we have gotten to the stage where at some point we have to enforce this thing, because we can't keep doing the same thing and expect the same result. 38 years, Nigeria is still where it is because we refuse to take stock of where we are. And you cannot scale up when you don't know what you have in the basket already. So as we speak today, what NIHOTOUR has done is simple. We are engaging all the stakeholders. We have not said to them, okay, initially when we started initial engagement, we did a bit of enforcement. We had to stop because the minister came in and said, okay, let's pipe down. Now we pipe down. We now said, okay, you guys, go talk to yourselves and let us know how best you want us to execute this. You have gotten the memo. We are going to execute this act. Because without executing this, there's absolutely nothing you can gain from the government. The services can never get better. Because if there are no standard, there's nothing to judge.
Let's revisit that act. Just walk us through the act. What is it that's changed since the act was signed into law and you came into office? What has changed?
Well, when I came in, I just met the act on my table.
No implementation.
Because everybody was scared. Nobody wants to touch it because
Would you then say that? Would you then say that this is one of the things that surprised you the most when you took over now?
Yeah. So it took guts for me to want to start at all. And just like what they say is that the act is not. There are some lacuna. There are some whatever. I'm saying that it has been signed into law. Until there's any change or changes, I won't just fold my hand and not do anything. Whatever I'm going to do is based on this act. And I will work based on the act. Until something changes, the president has accepted the signature on that act. And that's the Bible. It's the Hospitality Bible as we speak today. So as I tell you today, we have a register already. So that's one achievement. On that register, it might not be that we have 13 people, 14 people, but at least it's been established. If you're outside that register, it means you're a quack. Yeah. Because that's the law.
Is it justiciable? Can you arrest? Can you take people to get them prosecuted?
We have a tribunal.
Practice?
We have a tribunal. Okay. We have an hospitality and tourism tribunal that was established by us. It's in the act. We've done all of that. We already have a sector ski council. But just like every other industry, the pushback is heavy, and the industry, the funding is not there yet.
Someone say, where have you gone that there's been no pushback? Is there anything that has survived or thrived without the pushback?
No.
So seeing that there's still pushback, how would you now push forward despite the pushback? Because I'll give you an example. In the next few months, Nigeria is going to be hosting the World Public Relations Forum here in Nigeria, in Abuja to be precise. What's the guarantee that the guests that will be coming in would receive the kind of treatment they should get?
But I'll tell you, the guests have always received the kind of welcome. The Nigerians are very welcoming.
Very hospitable, yes.
They are very hospitable.
But you said something earlier about we need to up the ante.
We will.
So how?
But Rome, they always say, was not built in a day. We are in the process of doing all of that. And I won't guarantee you that it's going to happen before that program.
Okay.
But I can assure you that Nigerian being what and who we are, they will have a good time coming to Nigeria. The industry is good enough. We just need to organize ourselves better. And the industry has been purely operated by the private sector. Just like aviation, just like telecom. But the telecom was regulated from day one. Everybody knew what they
were coming there today.
Aviation was regulated from day one. But this one has been in existence for like 40-something years, and now you want to introduce regulation. It's not something that they are not used to. So you have to, a bit of babysitting, a bit of body eats and all of that. So,
Dr. Fagade, we'll take a moment. When we come back, we'll look at that process of upping the ante. I know you talked about little here, little there, but what's it been like holistically? We'll do that when we come back from this break. Just stay with us.
Send us iReport of happenings, authentic and verifiable updates around you. We want to see Africa through your eyes. Be an exclusive iReporter with News Central. Reach News Central's iReport desk on WhatsApp +234 705 500 1212 to report breaking news. You can also send via email to ireport@newscentral.africa. News Central, Africa first.
Welcome back. We still have Abisoye Fagade here in the studio, and before we went on that break, we were talking about the pushback in the bid to up the hospitality industry, up the ante in the hospitality industry in Nigeria. I'm summarizing what you said in a few words, but I said we'll look at the how, that process, because a lot of young people are involved in this industry in Nigeria. They are, how do you say now, content, in terms of content creation, they're into tourism, food business, and events. A lot of young Nigerians. It's like the industry for the youth. Even the older generations kind of like pulling back to say, let my children, let my nieces and nephews take up this industry. And you said that you're in the process, NIHOTOUR is in the process of upping the ante, making it more standardized. Walk us through that process, and what would it be like for these young people who are looking to break even here?
Well, because it's almost an all-commerce affair, it's everybody just come in, do what they need to do, and they. But right now, what we're trying to do is bring everybody on board, from the craft to the professionals. What we're trying to say is, even if you are a barman, there has to be a clear career path for you. You come in as a craft and you are registered, like the MBA of this world. You know, there are different levels. For you to be a son, you have to do like this. Like today, for example, everybody calls themselves chef. Outside this country, before you can earn the name chef, there must have been courses you have gone through. There must have been things. But people can just wake up because they can cook rice and beans, call themselves chef. Those are the kind of processes we are putting in place. And also, when you're a bartender, there are different kind of trainings that you have to go to. What does that do for the industry? It opens the industry totally to another segment, which is training. Because NIHOTOUR cannot train everybody. So people now have to start
setting up academies and training school, facilities,
finishing school facilities. That because training is important. Part of the plan is you must be trained twice in a year. A trained staff would always give a premium service. And when you know that your certification or your working whatever is tied to your job, you behave better. You give better service. And at that point in time, with that processes that we're doing, there'll be less turnover in terms of staffing. We are just trying to build some respect for that industry. I want my daughter to wake up one day and say, I want to be a bartender, because it's a prestigious job. I just don't want them to feel that I want to be a private chef because, not that conversation. But I want to be a chef because this is what being a chef looks like. There's a clear process of being a chef. Then also, we're looking at the housekeeping area. You need to take them through different kind of courses. What we are trying to do at NIHOTOUR is to make sure that the processes are clear, which is from the craft, for you to grow to supervisory role, and for you to get to that level of senior management, which means that you can't just bring an accountant to just come and be the MD of
a hotel,
an hospitality facility. You can come and be, but you have to go through a year or 2 year courses.
The same way you can't be a teacher without at least an NCE.
An NCE. The same way you can't be a nurse without going to a nursing school. You can't just say, okay, you are sacked from banking industry and the next place you want to enter into is
The hospitality
industry. We are safeguarding the quality of service of that industry. Then also when you see a staff that is trained in a restaurant, you get return on your investment. Then you get value for the service that you have been given. You will not go to restaurant and they're just greeting you and say, they know it's unethical. People do all of this because there's no standard. They do not know what to do. Nobody has shown them what the standard is. So in creating that structure and standard is a bit challenging. And, when you are trying to break into that kind of industry, just like when NAFDAC started. Nobody knew NAFDAC until Dr. Dorak maybe started, and he started showing people what the difference between original and fake, and what fake does to you and what the original does to you. So that's what NIHOTOUR is trying to, that's the phase we are right now. And it's more or less bootstrapping that agency. We are bootstrapping because it's new.
Do you think this now would create the kind of opportunities that the youth, Nigerians and indeed the international community can milk for good?
We are already milking it, but when you create a longer value chain, there's more to milk from it. Sincerely, when you create some sort of self-worth, the value changes. When there's value added to something, the people pay for that value. So in milking, there's a lot to make from that industry. I just showed you one, which is training. There's training for tour guide. There's training for concierge. So year in, year out, there's a lot of money to get from training. Year in, year out, there's a lot of money to get from being a trained and certified bartender. You will not be the same as a quack one. But I'm not saying everybody will be trained in 1 year. Yeah. It's a process. But let's start with the big ones first, and it flows down.
So the question then some will say is, if you're looking at training, what happens to the ITFs of this world that used to train the artisans? Because many of those who are into the cooking industry will tell you that they're certified by ITF. It's NIHOTOUR working with ITF, who's training artisans in this area.
Of course. ITF trains almost everybody. And NIHOTOUR cares for that sector. What we are not trying to say is NIHOTOUR cannot be in every state. We cannot train everybody. In this industry today, let's just take a round figure. Maybe there are about 3 to 4 million people. How do you get them trained in 1 year if you don't create that value chain of assessing training schools, approving training schools, accredited training schools that can do that same job? And government can no longer be funding training schools. It's better for us to have one big international training school than to have training schools everywhere. Let Nigerians invest in that industry. Instead of just opening up a bar, open a training school. Get your approval. Be an accredited training school for cooking or bartender. People will come and train because it's mandatory for them to have 2 trainings in a year. Right now, there are not too many training schools we have around. Even the ones that we have are not really doing well.
And do we even have many? How many certified trainers are there?
Because there are no rules. And when now the rules was created, the rules are not being enforced. But we are here to make sure that we enforce the rules.
But how easy has it been enforcing the rules? You came in, you've been there about a year plus.
Yes.
Well, how easy has it been enforcing these rules?
The same way, it's not been easy reforming Nigeria. So I feel that it's not going to be easy. I don't want to find it easy, but what I need is support. If it's easy, I don't want to do it. If it's easy, I don't want to do it. What we need is support.
For one who's coming from the marketing communications field as a professional, I mean, you run your business for a while. You step into this place, and you said something earlier about if this is enforced, if these laws are enforced, the issues around security would also be catered to. What's the lowest hanging fruit you can pluck right now? I mean, to say, okay, we're pushing the lowest hanging fruit, besides just certifying people and training.
The lowest hanging fruit right now is, you can't say beside training, because our core is training.
Because you still have to find the people you're going to train.
Well,
And the many
people
of these
train-
hospitality organizations or institutions would rather hoard their staff because they don't want to spend that money and they have to pay for the training. Would they be willing to let them out? I asked you earlier, is this justiciable? As in, can you take them to court to say,
Yes.
let them come forward?
Yes. We are not doing that yet because we are still sensitizing people.
Okay.
As a tribunal, that you can take it to court. You can be charged. You can be jailed. You can be fined. It is then the law. It is signed. That is why some people don't want the law to take its course. And more importantly, I feel that the industry is ripe enough for this. A lot of us travel out and we come back and say, why is this country not like this? Why are you not like this country? The question is, are we doing what the other countries are doing? Have we made the kind of investment that other countries have done in that sector? Are we putting the kind of effort other countries are putting in that sector? But right now, this government is willing to invest in tourism. Ask me why. In China, they say if you want to build a country, build roads. The infrastructure President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is building right now, I'm sure after building those infrastructure, the next phase is going to be tourism, hospitality, and travel. How ready are we? How structured is that sector? That is why we are doing all these things to make sure that when it's our turn to be visited, we are ready. Because you are talking about visiting all this tourism site, all this. The roads to those sites were not good. What the president is doing right now is building infrastructure to those places. We're trying to make sure that there's electricity, trying to make sure that the security is better. When all those issues are solved, where's the next place to go to? Tourism. Because tourism is bigger than oil. It is something that never dries. It's continuous.
Okay, so we'll take another break. When we come back, we'll look at that tourism industry and what the potential is like for Nigeria. Because I know that there are nations that survive on tourism. Can Nigeria milk and draw from that place as well? We'll do that in a bit. Please stay with us.
Send us iReport of happenings, authentic and verifiable updates around you. We want to see Africa through your eyes. Be an exclusive iReporter with News Central. Reach News Central's iReport desk on WhatsApp +234 705 500 1212 to report breaking news. You can also send via email to ireport@newscentral.africa. News Central, Africa first.
Welcome back. This is NC Exclusive, and we have the Director General of NIHOTOUR, that's the Nigeria Institute for Hospitality and Tourism. We've been talking about the potentials in that industry and what the nation can benefit besides the citizens of this nation and investors, what they can draw from that industry. Dr. Fagade, before we went on that break, we talked about you mentioned the tourism industry, and I said when we come back, we'll look at what is possible from that industry. There are nations, the Seychelles of this world, they survive on tourism. Even nations like Singapore, tourism. And Nigeria has a huge resource in tourism, but it looks as if what do you think is the issue?
There's no issue. I think we slept on it. Oil came and we slept on it. We saw money and we slept on it. There was a lot of money and we never looked at reinvesting in tourism, just invested in some other things. But now Nigeria is waking up to that. The world is even waking us up to that. You've seen different kind of people from other foreign countries coming to this country, to Nigeria, to show us places that you and I have never been to. How did they get there? It means the world is waking up to Nigeria. The question is, are we ready when they come in here? Are we ready to juice it? Because for an average traveler that comes to Nigeria, the minimum they will spend in 5 days, is about $1,500. Take, for example, even the religious tourism. The winners, the redeems of this world, when they do convention, how many people come into Nigeria? As we speak today, that is the only tourism that is booming in Nigeria. Now imagine people coming for Osun Osogbo, coming for
Carnival in
Calabar, coming for the Agogo Festival. When all is settled, when I say settled, the roads are good, the security issues have been resolved like the president is doing right now, then we have, Nigerians are very hospitable people. And we know how to capture those opportunities. I was in China recently, and we went to the temple. At that temple, there's this roof for the Chinese roof that they made, and I just looked to the side. I saw somebody making ice cream with the shape of the roof. And what you need to do is just take a picture and touch the roof from where the person is. And do you know how much you were selling that the ice cream for? For about $10.
$10.
That's a small opportunity being captured there. So we are waking up to it. It takes time, but we are not even scratching the surface yet.
So let me ask you this, because as you're talking, I'm just thinking about the brands that have moved out of the country.
You're not talking about the ones that are moving back into the country.
No, some of the brands that have moved out are quite big brands, sort of like moved out. Some of them are returning. But what was it in the first place that made them want to move out?
First, because there was no agency that catered for that industry. When they had dispute, there was nowhere to run to. Nobody, the government was not even part of that deal. It was some guy who wants money. He feels like, let me bring this brand in. I've learned from them. They can now go. My contract is over. Those are the oversight function of the government agency. You get what I'm saying? Like, and when that business goes south, they will say Nigerians. They will not say a particular individual.
Yeah.
That's why we need to regulate that industry. So when those brands are coming in, they have a trusted government people that they know that their investment is protected. Their intellectual property is protected. There's a government involvement in them coming into Nigeria. So moving out might be difficult. If there are disputes, it can be settled. Most of the brands that have moved out of Nigeria are probably mostly from South Africa. So, and it's always a businessman dealing with another international brand, not an international brand coming into Nigerian market. So it's always like individual dispute with those people. That's part of the things that NIHOTOUR needs and the NTDA needs to look at. I'm saying these personnel that are coming in, do they have the right visas?
Yeah.
Because I've seen issues, different kind of issues. People with construction permits that are working in a restaurant. That is one job for a Nigerian that's been taken up by a foreigner. Who's looking at those things? There are plenty of examples I'll give to you that shows that Nigeria is on the rise. Naira is stable. People can now invest and repatriate their money. Those times they can't repatriate their money. Those are part of the issues also. So now you can repatriate your dollar and you can actually plan for 3, 4, 5 years. So those brands are coming back, but when they come back, how are we managing that relationship? How is the government involved? Are they still being operated under the radar? The law says the government has to be involved when there are big brands coming in. It's not about the money. It's about protecting
everybody involved. Because I was going to ask you the question about, yes, NIHOTOUR is concerned about the personnel and the investor. The personnel here being both investor and those that are working there. But then what happens to the infrastructure itself that they are going to use? Are you working with that agent? I mean, if, for instance, now I'm an investor, I'm coming to the country, and I see that building across, and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to use that building. What's the guarantee that I will not be, swindled? Is that part of what NIHOTOUR will be looking at as well to ensure that if I say is that facility I'm renting or buying, my money is safe, I can get it, and get the different approvals from the different agencies of government so that my facility can start?
Well, NIHOTOUR cannot guarantee real estate. That's not our job, really. But what we can do is facilitate those kind of businesses and to make sure that we guarantee the source that they are going to. It's easier for us to verify a lot of things. As I speak today, I can read the RG of CAC, get in touch with the EFCC chairman and say, kindly verify. From government to government, it's easier, which is why we're saying, come into this next. Let us channel all our efforts towards one channel, and it's easier to do business that way. When people know that there's going to be repercussion for their actions, everybody will stay in lane. As we speak today, everybody in that industry is doing whatever they like. And the ones that are benefiting do not want the act to come to life. And what they don't even understand is it's like a tick on a dog's body. The tick thing is killing the dog, not knowing that when the dog dies, the tick also is going to die. NIHOTOUR is a government agency. NIHOTOUR represents the Federal Republic of Nigeria when it comes to hospitality, tourism, and travel, personnel, and professionals. We are an enabling body to enhance your business and make sure that the workers are also okay. So why would anybody want to fight that kind of structure? But at the end of the day, we are not investing for a short-term goal. It's for the long-term goal. We are building a future where our children will be happy to say, this is where I work. Many people can say I'm a barman. And if you go online, I can give you names of barmen who have done really well because there's a structure for you. There's a growth path. A growth path that you can go on.
So we're seeing hope. But let's just say we want to, yes, you've done this for a year. Let's just say we want to come back to you now in a year or two. What difference are we going to see?
We would have seen an agency who has built a foundation to restructure and reform.
Okay. But you see, that question also ties to the fact that you are an agency. You are one man. In NIHOTOUR now, you're Director General, right?
No,
No, hold on.
I have a team of people that I'm working with.
I was going somewhere.
Okay.
You're one man, Director General, right? Just like NIHOTOUR is just one agency and has to, as the case may be, needs to have a team of agencies working with it. So you have a law that you're working to implement. Do the other agencies have their own laws to implement? At what point does your law interface with the law of the other agencies so that the hospitality and tourism industry is better off at the end of the day?
Okay, let me just say this here. There are two agencies in tourism, NIHOTOUR and NTDA, two brothers or sister agencies, as you may want to call it. And wherever our law overlaps, we have agreed to work together.
Okay.
That is one. NIHOTOUR as an agency, we have an understanding and we're working with Nigerian Police Force. We have the approval from the IG to do enforcement all over Nigeria. That is one. We have an understanding and MOU with Nigerian Immigration Services, which shows that anybody that is coming in to come and work in the hospitality industry has to get a clearance for NIHOTOUR. That is two. We have an MOU and understanding with NAFDAC to secure the health and safety, to say that food that people will be serving are certified. So if you want a NAFDAC approval, you also have to come to NIHOTOUR for that. Then also, we have gone ahead with immigration. I've mentioned that already, yes. That with immigration, we have gone ahead with CAC. You cannot register an hospitality business in Nigeria right now without getting a clearance from NIHOTOUR to say this person is registered and certified to work. There must be a certified person on your board before you can register a company, because we want to know who is working in that industry. There are the low-hanging fruits of what we are doing right now. Before you can even file your annual returns, they will ask you those questions. That is NIHOTOUR working with interagency. Then also we are working with embassies, to see how we can use our culinary to break into the rest of the world. Anywhere you go to, you get Chinese food. Chinese food. They didn't just get there. Chinese food is it's not just one food. It's variety of food.
Yeah.
Imagine our food, our menu on a global stage. You won't get on a global stage if you don't take it seriously. You know how much money we can make from food, from farm to table. So we've done a lot of collaborations that are in the last 1 year. We've gone about meeting other agencies and see how we can work together. As we speak today, there's no standard data for our industry. We're working with Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. We have an MOU. All these things need funding, but we have created the foundation for it so that when the funding comes, we know where to plug it into. In the next 3-4 years, you see authentic data coming out from that industry, from tourism, and say, this is how much we are making, this is what they spend money on. When people come into Nigeria, this is what they put their money on. Then services, how it has increased. Because the only reason why you have a repurchase or revisit or whatever it is that you want to call it is when the experience is good. And the reason why we are creating structure is to make the experience of visiting Nigeria seamless. No, seamless. And that's the only way you can have a revisit. When there are issues to be resolved, there will always be issues. You know where to run to. So we can make those corrections.
So we're rounding up now, but you've mentioned this matter of funding. I think this is the second or third time you mentioned it. And it looks as if it's a recurring decimal across agencies of government. Is NIHOTOUR looking to have independence in terms of funding so that it does not hamper what they need to do? I mean, there's a Public Relations Institute, Nigerian Public Relations Institute, independently funded, so to speak. So how's NIHOTOUR going to get its funding to ensure it stays free to enforce what it needs to?
If we start this right, in the next 3-4 years, NIHOTOUR may never need money from the government anymore. But just like any new company, there has to be initial investment. And the return on these investments is huge than anybody can imagine, and it's recurrent. So if you say, you're asking me, yeah, and we are looking at, right now, we are looking at gift, talking to our, we have a lot of people in that industry with deep pocket. Rather than wait for government, we are approaching our friends, say, these are the things that we want to do, we need a bit of, some of them want return on
so
their
when someone wants to come and register a training institute, for instance, of course there'll be some payments. But finally,
before we get to that level, the teaching problem are still there.
Yeah,
we need tools to work with. We need vehicles for inspections. So all those things will be done, but nobody has ever put them in that perspective.
So you're not concerned about those who are thinking that NIHOTOUR and NTDA is like a duplication of function?
No, they're not. The roles are clear. Unless somebody who wants to be funny, and Nigerians are always funny, they would always tell the story the way it pays them. And wherever that two overlaps, it takes two DG. Like brothers and sisters, they can never fight over those kind of things. Our roles
unless you're P Square.
Don't go there. Don't go there. So we are not what you mentioned. I won't say that. What you mentioned. But more importantly, I think that people will always play one against the other because it pays them.
Yeah.
But we have resolved that we are going to do this. It's the only way to move the industry forward. It's the only way to scale up the industry. It's the only way to change the perception of Nigeria. And imagine you selling Nigeria, come to Nigeria, and they come into Nigeria, the service is whacked. That's where we come in, to make sure that people that are working in that industry are not criminals, people that are working in that industry are well trained, people that are working in that industry are well rewarded. You can't be declaring billions of naira and you're paying peanuts. Even though their rooms don't get filled? Their rooms get filled. We don't have mice in Nigeria. Do you know what hotels are declaring? Please don't. We shouldn't go there.
No, but they'll tell you that they're not making money. Their rooms don't get filled, and so they're forced to open clubs and all of that so that they can make an extra buck.
But opening a club is part of the value chain of that hotel. You are just using the structure. So don't. The only thing that rooms are not the only things that bring revenue for hotels. Even
no, I'm just telling you what most of them
the swimming pool are part of the hotel, and people pay to swim in the swimming pool. The spas are there, but when your services are good, people will always go back. They will always come back. You always come back. There are days in Abuja you probably will not get a place to sleep.
Okay, so as we wind up, let's look at the potential in terms of job creation. What do you think would be the likelihood that a fresh graduate will be looking, I need to get employed in that hotel, or someone in school will think, I need to change my course from this to that, so that by the time I'm done, I'll be working with that brand. What's the potential?
We are attracting global brands as we speak today, and what they want to see is a guarantee that their investment will be worth it. And they're already seeing that. The economy is...
I was going to ask you to name one or two global brands.
It's not in my business to do
yeah,
that.
go ahead. I know before we send the invoice to them.
So the excitement of young people working with the global brands are there. Then also we are seeing local brands who are building brands that can scale up and go outside Nigeria. That's even more exciting for me than any other thing. I won't mention their names, but there are a couple of them. People are now seeing hotel business as a long-term project, not that we invest money today, repeat tomorrow. Then our maintenance culture is changing. It's our job to train people and tell people more about preservation of what we have. Don't destroy what you have to create a new thing, because the one that you have created, you have not even... In China, their biggest asset is preservation.
Yeah.
They will build a road in a rock just to preserve that rock. We need to learn that culture of preservation, and it's the job of NATO to make sure that people are trained in that. If you have a land, there's a big tree that has dated over 30 years. Preserve it and build something around that tree. Tell the story around that tree and say, people can come and say, I stayed in that hotel with a tree of over 400 years. So it's that level of engagement that we are looking at. How do we preserve what we have? How do we preserve our culture and tell a story that people can come and visit, or that is what they are visiting?
Dr. Abisoye Fagade, thank you for joining us on NT Exclusive.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for sharing your insights and your plans with us. We do hope that this would be good for Nigeria and for you as a brand, as one who's been in that business of selling brand for how many years?
I think about 3 decades.
See? We wish you well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Now, it's clear that hospitality and tourism in Nigeria is about more than hotels and holidays. It's about jobs, pride, and how we welcome the world. We appreciate you breaking it down for us here in simple terms, and we do appreciate you who let us come into your evening. If you run a small restaurant or a tour guide business, or you just love to travel in Nigeria, this is your time. The standards are changing. Thank you for staying with us. This is New Central. I'm NIHOTOUR, and this is NT Exclusive.